What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. We're going to be doing my full review of the Miguron Mero. Let's get into it. All right, what we're going to do today is we're going to do some size comparisons, profile comparison. We'll weigh the knife, and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. Let's kick it off with the size comparison. First up, we got this Spyderco Para 3 lightweight, smaller knife. You can see the Mero is looking like it's a full-sized EDC, and then we have the Spyderco Shaman, which it is definitely right in line with. So we got a full-size one here on the table today, guys. Here it is against the Miguron Mero. Love these knives from Miguron. They're really impressive, guys. We're going to set the Shaman aside briefly, and then we'll bring it back out for the profile comparison. Here it is against this Avivi Bull Tusk. So you can see Bull Tusk I consider full size. The Mero definitely 100% a full-sized EDC. Let's do these profiles real quick and see how it's going to feel in hand, how it might carry in pocket. And the Mero is just a little bit thicker than the Bull Tusk, pretty close. It's not that far off, and I imagine it'll be pretty comparable to the Shaman. Yeah, so very identical to the Shaman, not very different at all. Let's check the weight on this one. It feels like it's really coming in close to that 4.5 ounce to 5 ounce mark. It is nicely chamfered on the inside, so it might be closer to that 4.5. So coming in at 4.7, so right in between to the range that I was thinking that it was going to come in. So 4.7 for a full-size knife that has all titanium scales, titanium pocket clip, steel hardware, and a good full-sized M390 blade. Not bad at all. Let's jump into the knife. Ergonomically, I have extra room to spare for full finger grip here. It does have a really generous sharpening choil that can be used in a little bit of a trigger pull, but you're not going to be able to get in much more than that. You also can go ahead and kind of split the difference here and choke up to get really close to the edge for those power cuts. But I have found, like, when I'm using it power cut position, just kind of pushing the thumb out into the cardboard or whatever I'm cutting to keep it over here, it did really well, guys. I don't feel any hot spots when holding the knife. Pocket clip is noticeable, but it's not sharp in any way, shape, or form. Got a little dirt here on that knurling, but it's very, very comfortable. It was a little bit of a tapper when I got mine, so I took it off, flipped it over, and just bolted it down a little bit and kind of helped bend it into place. And it's done really well since then. I also noticed going in and out of the pocket that it went from feeling like it kind of shifted around a little bit to like giving it that extra strength, not feeling like that anymore. So I don't know if maybe mine just got bent a little bit when they were installing it, or something happened with it when it was, it definitely was. When it came in, it was like that. I noticed that. But giving it that extra strength, it's really good now. You do feel the knurling a little bit here. When it comes out, you can feel it rubbing against the pocket, the inseam of the pocket. I'd like to see manufacturers, when they do the knurling or the milling or anything like that, just add a little landing pad right underneath of there where you just leave it as a flat, smooth piece of titanium, very similar to what you see on this backspacer here. Titanium's backspacer is really nice. Access to the lock bar is good. It is knocked down and chamfered, so you can get in there very easily. There, you do feel a little bit of a point, but it isn't sharp. You can just feel that it comes down to a little bit of a thinner piece right here, but they knocked it down so it's not sharp at all. You just kind of feel the pressure pinpoint, I guess, versus it kind of digging in or cutting into you. Dick coming in from the side, very nice, very controlled closing. When I got this one, I took it apart right away. I really liked the action on it. So the skiffs are in here and the washers have been flipped, so I'm now trying to break it back in. But it was almost guillotine out of the gate. After I took it apart, cleaned it, and installed the skiffs, it did want to back out a little bit on me, so I did throw some thread locker on it. I let it sit for 48 hours, and it's been rock solid since. I think once the skiffs do break in, it's going to be a guillotine again. I did notice a difference. When you have these milled out liners like this, and it doesn't really show because it's dark here now. When you have the milled out liners like this, guys, One of the things that you do notice with that is you get a lot more feedback. This was one knife where, yes, it could have been that it was gritty, but it seemed really clean when I took it apart. And then when I threw the skiffs on, it was more buttery smooth, and it didn't have that gritty, vibratory or vibrating feedback in the scales that I was getting with the factory skiffs. I mean, the factory bearings that are stamped. And again, maybe they were dirty, but this is where I go to say that I feel like skiffs just make a huge difference. And you saw there, got to be really careful because when you take that lock bar pressure off, it's just whatever the pivot's doing, and you saw how it just wants to drop to the finger. And I think this is going to continue to break in and get even smoother. The jimping, while it is a little bit thicker than what I normally like, two things come to account here. It has really good bite, and it's very tall. So when it's tall like this and you have plenty of space for that finger to land on it, it actually makes it function very well for a front flipper. And then the fuller here, very Vero reminiscent of Vero, gives me those type of vibes on both sides. It has plenty of bite, not too sharp where it feels like it wants to take the skin off, but it does work for the thumb, and it does work really well for that reverse flick. Very nice action, guys. You can dig in here too if you do like to close that way. If you're one of those people that like to come out of the hold and just pick up on it and let it drop, it works that way too. Very, very nice. Let's go down to the garage and let's talk about cutting performance. All right, guys, we are in the garage. We have the Miguron Mero. I hope I'm saying that right, but I'm really anxious to see how this compound ground, specifically the hollow ground piece of the knife or part of the knife, performs today. This is factory fresh edge. Haven't done any cutting with it yet, and a true cut test will be coming to the channel. This again is just factory edge performance and a real quick look at it. So feels good, feels very similar to how a lot of hollow grinds come in on the channel and how they're feeling. Again, I got my single ply. I am gonna just really quick, we'll see a draw cut here. We're just gonna do, that was really bad on my part. I want to get away from the adhesive and work through the single ply cardboard here. I apologize for the lighting. Still waiting for my light to come in. It'll be here tomorrow. So let's just, whoa. Wow, that thing's a laser beam, guys. Holy crap. That thing is just gripping and ripping through here. Let's see way out on the tip. Okay, so yeah, a little, you can tell a little bit of the difference. It's hard to control it if I'm honest. The edge is biting, but you can see the cardboard wanting to like fold or peel right there because of the thickness out on the tip, which is meant for strength, sorry. Let's see, just a little bit of adhesive there going across the grain still, but absolutely, it's gliding through there easily. And let me just really quick, I don't normally do this part. Yeah, it is a little bit more robust out on the tip. You can definitely feel that. And actually, it feels a little wonky if I'm being honest. I don't know if it's because, let me try to go from this side. Yeah, it feels, it's got a good tip. I might not be using a high enough angle. Let's just see really quick. Make sure there's no adhesive. No, it doesn't feel sticky. Let's just check real quick. That wasn't a lot of cardboard, I know. But if there was anything that chipped easily, you'd be able to pick it up at this stage. And again, there will be a full, sorry, that bent. There will be a full cut test that comes a little bit later for this. This was just for review purposes. Let me get another piece of paper to see what the factory edge felt like, to see if there were any blemishes. No, okay, I think it was just because, oh no, it is catching. No, I see what it is. Let me get up here. I see what's happening. I'm getting really close to the sharpening tool. That's me, 100% me, but I will do a dedicated cut test on here to demonstrate how this will perform after I take it through a bunch of material. And this does have, and I'll show you on the table, it has a higher edge angle on it. So tougher tip, not as bitey and as laid back as I would like for it to be. Maybe after I do the cut test, I'll go ahead and do that as well. But let me go ahead and kick it back up to the desk and we'll finish the review from there. All right, so we're back from the garage. And no surprise, compound ground blade, hollow ground. It has a more of a higher degree angle. This feels like a 24 or 25 degree angle blade. Edge, not blade, sorry. So it's more tough. So when it's cutting through the material, it feels like there's a little bit more tearing happening than there is with something that you get from, say, maybe like Spyderco. So, and you can just look at the two of these and you can just see the difference on the edges. You see how much more I have to bend it before you start seeing the light reflect off of the Miguron. And again, hollow ground versus flat ground, but you can really see how laid back the edge angle is on the Spyderco versus on the Miguron. So that would be one thing I would say is if you're good about putting an edge on here, I think with this hollow ground, I think laying it back to somewhere like 20, 19 degrees will still keep toughness there, but that edge angle would be really, really a laser beam with this hollow grind. The compound grind is really thick out of the tip. When I was trying to do the draw cuts, I noticed that it was not as acute as I would have liked. So just a few complaints about the factory from the edge, that factory edge from the factory, or the edge, factory edge coming from the factory. It is not quite as acute as I would like. So when I go to put my own edge on here, I'll probably be able to accommodate that. One thing to notice too is this has belly to it. It's not a straight up and down or a straight across blade. It starts higher here and drops down. And then when it gets to about here, it starts to sweep back up gradually. So that is a little bit different, something that you may want to pay attention to, or perhaps not. If you want to just continue to sharpen, you'll end up taking more material away from here. But if you use a guided system, it should be very easy to keep that sweep. Nice wedge out on the top, and cutting performance I would say was good from the factory. I did strop it some after the cutting, and the stropping really did help with the higher edge angle. It does have plenty of bite, and I will do a edge retention test or a cutting test where I push this just to see, like, are you starting to see fatigue after a little bit of moderate cutting on different types of materials, or is it really holding? But this feels, with the strop, really bitey. Feels like it's going to grab and bite into whatever it is that you're cutting on. And I really do like this model a lot. The knurling is really nice. They did, again, chamfer out and mill out on the inside to reduce the weight. Good controlled drop. I think you could probably back this out a little bit more, and maybe we'll just really quick on camera. I know I put the thread locker in here. I'm probably going to regret this. Oh my gosh. Okay. It moved a little bit more than I intended. Hopefully I didn't break too much of the thread locker in there, but just to kind of show you, it can get to being a guillotine. No play. So I think you can definitely balance this. It's definitely dropping to the thumb faster, but I think you could probably balance this a little bit better than I did when I put the thread locker on there. Again, I liked a little bit more control. The detent felt really well tuned. It feels hard to fail. And that's impressive considering that it's a front flipper. But I think because they have it so high above the pivot here and they have it so tall that it's actually very easy to overcome the stronger detent with the way this one's tuned. I really like it. I think it's a great looking knife. I love the fact that this one's a little bit more full size than the Pagos and the Kyrex 2 that I really like from them. Those are more medium sized, like the Moyarl. But I like that I have a little bit of room to kind of adjust my grip on this one. It doesn't feel too overly thick. It feels nice the way that this one is set up. It's very similar to a Shaman as far as the thickness, a little bit thicker than the Civivis here lately have been coming in really thin, and I do like that a lot. I don't know if you'll be able to really tell here on the table, but they really are coming in thin, and I do like that because while they're coming in thin, you still have nice tall handles on here, so they do feel and carry nice in pocket in hand. But these, when you have the larger hands like myself, that little bit of extra girth goes a long way with giving confidence to the grip. So I guess that's all I'm really trying to say. It's really hard to recommend alternative knives because Migurons are coming in at under $200 on a lot of their stuff. And you can find sales, discount codes, all kinds of stuff to get these at a really affordable price. And I think they're doing a really good job. Alternatively, for a similar price, you could probably look at a S-Towel. Or a towel, sorry. S-Towel would be sheep's foot. If you want the drop point, it'd be towel. If you wanted the sheep's foot, you'd get the S-Towel. My point being is I think Kunwu has some stuff that I think would be pretty competitive price, performance, everything like that. Some of Kunwu's stuff might be a little bit more expensive, but they're dealing with like Vanex, L-Max. You're getting more unique steel choices versus it being M390 or 20CV. Not that there's anything wrong with those steels. Those steels are popular for a reason. They're the top of the food chain. Edge retention, strength, all that stuff. Really, really good stuff. This is an easy recommendation. Miguron continues to impress. I don't know how long they'll be able to continue to offer these at this price point. I think what helps them is they're giving you steel hardware instead of titanium hardware, and I'm okay with that. I think some titanium is really good, and I think steel helps people from stripping the heads, the thread, everything like that, because it's steel on steel contact. There's steel standoffs inside of the titanium here, and you can see that in my disassembly video. Any questions that you have about the Mero, just let me know. This is a newer model from Miguron, and I think, again, they just continue to do a fantastic job. Value for money is here. It is definitely here. If you have those questions, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll make sure and try to answer them. Shout out to everyone out there that likes, comments, is subscribed, and uses those links. It does help the channel. I'll see you guys Thursday at the live. Shout out to my members. You're going to get that early access to this video. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, guys. And until next time, peace.